Jump in the game.
All right, here we, all right, so I'll be here today after school at 7:30. I'll do something at night. Tomorrow I'll be before school, and then 6 to 8 p.m. I'm doing pizza and soda. And I waited 28 minutes and 39 seconds when I called Domino's. In between that, I texted a friend of mine and said, "What the F is going on in this company?" I mean, I'm like kind of scared how should they get the pizzas there tomorrow on time. You can't figure out how to walk to your phone in under 29 minutes. Name a job. Name a job. No. You name maybe one job I did say pizza. Yeah, what's a pizza maker? Manage the store, manage the highest volume store in the world. With the store owner. What? Stores don't have things. Where's JK? I saw him.
I used to say where he has a before class.
Yeah, good timeline for him. JK, why are you late?
We got one out of class a little late.
A little late? You're like 12 minutes late here. Who did you have?
Having some sundown.
All right, here are the review packets. You go to the AP topic page. I really recommend the Ultimate Review Guide. I'd like to emphasize in the Ultimate Review Guide, there's 2 practice AT tests for macro and 2 for micro. So you can get plenty of practice. Now, say Aaron Genius takes one of them. He doesn't understand question 37. There's an answer, kid, but he's still if you can't see me, email me, and I'll email you back. I respond. All right, here's a review outline for both macro and micro. The micro, when you're taking that test, you have to know monopoly and perfect competition. And then there's a sheet there for every possible situation they can ask you for the reserve requirement. Okay? Which is macro. All right. Use as much of the resources as you can. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow at the 6 to 8, obviously you can leave before 8, and obviously you can come after 6. It's not class, okay? It's extra. It's like I hit the blunders and I wanted to buy people pizza and soda, and I waited 29 minutes to get someone to answer the phone. It was absurd. They didn't even answer. I had to hang up and do it online. Yes.
What's your thoughts on pineapple pizza?
I love it.
Yes.
It has to have ham to me to be, but do you not eat ham? I don't eat ham, but
I eat pineapple chicken.
Okay.
All
right. All right, I'm gonna go through all the graphs, and so you can have them in one spot. I thought there was something else I needed to tell you. Oh, the last day of class for you guys is next Monday. I'd like you to all come to class Monday. If you have an AP exam that Monday, you try to come to a different class. Like, if you have a morning class, could you come to an afternoon class and just be there? It's going to be very low key.
Are you gonna have a lecture on Thursday? I think that's 6 period.
No, I think we're going to be taking the test, right?
I thought we were doing 6, 7.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there in lecture, and what I'll do is just answer any questions you guys have. Not about macro, because macro is done. But if you have questions in micro, and I'll probably have some practice stuff you could do. But it should be low key. I can't make it. Huh? Yeah, why? You have a test? Yeah, I know you have. So try to make a different place.
I think all the calculus is right.
When?
I think in the morning.
Okay. All right. I gotta get through this because there's a lot. We'll figure it out. All right. Here is your production possibilities curve. All right. It could be on both micro and macro. Expected on both. Anything inside is inefficient. A recession would be in here. A, B, C, D, and E is all, productively efficient. And then like some spot out here, E is unattainable with present day resources. Whatever they did. Okay. All right, now, if it is bowed out like this, it's increasing opportunity cost. And the reason is resources are not adaptable. Okay? Resources are not adaptable. Any shift like this, that signifies economic growth. And I put the shifters in there for you, right? No. If it's, okay, if it's a straight line like that, it's constant opportunity growth. Allison had enough faith that I would do that, but I have that slowing down. I had a little faith. Okay. I forgot this. Okay. We're all good? All right, the only reason this is here is to tell you, if they gave you a graph like this and said, what's the best for economic growth? A is, because you're making the most capital goods. Economic growth is capital goods, because that's like a shifter. All right. There, Alex, there's the straight line, just in case you thought I was lying to you. All right, price ceiling. For ceiling to be binding, upside down house below the equilibrium. So there is your binding price ceiling. No,
I was like thinking about it.
You seem like you got things there. Is there a test? Is it Aaron Howell had a test?
Yeah.
I think it's 8-0.
Site started?
No, it's 8.
Oh, eight.
Yeah. Exercise. Yeah.
All right. Now. Just want to take this up. That triangle is your deadweight loss. Just remember, if they ask how much would be sold, you're going to sell 20, right? Because even though people are demanding 50, you're only supplying 20. The shortage is 50 minus 20, giving you 30.
What does 20 represent again? You're selling.
How much are you to sell? All right. The floor upside down house is above the equilibrium to be binding. Okay. I did a better job from the dots there. There's your deadweight loss. Here you're gonna have a surplus. Why? Because people are demanding 20 and you have 40. Okay. So the surplus would be 40 minus 20.
Why would the government ever institute that? Because
The price floor,
you
minimum wage. So to ensure everyone's getting. Also, sometimes like maybe for some, like corn, to incentivize farmers to grow corn, to give them a better price. Yes, Mike.
There's a larger supply.
Yep. So that surplus of minimum wage would be unemployment.
Is that like also the same triangle?
Same triangle. Say that again, I couldn't hear you. Well, a price floor is above the equilibrium, so it would, a price ceiling would be for a monopoly. Because you want to get the price lower, right?
No, like for the government to implement it to stop monopolies from trying to get all these companies out.
Yeah. Okay, next up. I'm just showing you, we went over, okay, consumer surplus above the price, below demand. You can fill this in on your floor. Producer surplus below the price, above supply. And there it is. Now, are you using your photographic memory for this? Huh? You're good. Taking pictures.
Was the nobody lost right except for the circle?
Yeah, it's gold or silver. So. All right, world price. Give me a second here. I made the world price $2. And you don't have to put in consumer or producer surplus. Consumer surplus above the price below demand, and producer surplus. So producers are not very happy, and they go to Congress and they get a tariff. And I'll show you how that helps.
So there's no nobody lost.
No, we're gonna get there. Let us get the tariff, okay? All right, so now I put in the tariff. There's the tariff, okay? So it goes from 2 to 4. Consumer surplus above the tariff, below demand. Notice how much bigger producer surplus, because the tariff now raises foreign goods prices, so more U.S. producers could get involved, because they could compete at the 2 browns are consumer surplus. I don't know what that was. The 2 browns is that. The red box is the tariff box, and realize here that imports are 11. I'm just going to say 11 minus 9. We're importing 2, and the tax is 2. I find the tax and the tariff is 4 minus the original world price is 2. So the tax is 2, and the imports is 2. So the total tax revenue would be 4. Okay. Now, notice before the tariff, imports were 13 minus 7. So like what we would call a shortage is imports. All right, because Americans are only making 7, like say cars, and we want 13, so we're importing 6. After the tariff, Americans are making like 9 cars, and we only want 11, so we import 2. Okay. Any questions? Huh? Yeah. Before the tariff, Americans were making 7 cars, right? But we wanted 13, so we would import 6. But because the price goes up, now Americans can compete a little more, so they're making 9 cars. The price went up, we don't want as many, we want 11, So imports are 2. All right. Here's a simple excise tax. Supply shifts left. This line tells you how much the tax is, the line between the 2 supply curves. Tax revenue box. Surplus. Surplus. Okay, how do I tell the tax? Again, it's 4 minus 2, so the tax is $2. I look at the old price 3 and the new price 4. Consumers are paying $1. The total tax is 2. I know the producers are paying $1. This box is tax revenue. Above the new price, below demand, consumer surplus. Below the $2 and above supply, producer. Why is producer at 2? Because even though they're collecting 4, they're sending 2 to the government, so they're only getting to keep 2. The tax is base times height, so this is 2 times 80, total tax 160. Any question on that? We're good? All right, I'm going to roll. All right. All I want you to realize is, if it's an inelastic curve, they're going to get more of the tax incidence. What do they mean by tax incidence? They're going to pay more. So if demand is relatively inelastic, like looking like an eye, the consumers will pay a greater amount of the tax. If supply is more inelastic, the producers will pay more of the tax. Okay. Just remember, like, elastic is greater than 1, inelastic is less than 1, perfectly inelastic is 0. All right, monopoly. Here we go. Monopoly making money. Oh man, I got colors and everything here for you. Here we go. All right, like all things, we got to profit maximize MC equals MR from monopoly up to demand. That little white spot there is deadweight loss. Why deadweight loss? Because the higher price of the monopoly forces some people out of the market. How do I find my profit max? M equals MR up to demand. I take that line down to ATC and across. If I was losing money, I take it up to ATC. When you're graphing, your MC should cross the ATC at its relatively lowest point. Can't be exact, but at its relatively lowest point. The green box is the profit box. The purple is the total cost. How do I find the total cost? I went down to the ATC and across, everything below it is total cost. This big box of green and purple, that's total revenue. Hang in here, Mahi, hang in there. You can do it. Yes, sir.
So find the total revenue, would we add the profit box and the total cost box?
Yes.
Okay.
What was used again? This total revenue equals what?
It would be the green one. Yeah. We good? We good, Aiden? Aiden, is it hard for you to sit? Just for your injury? Yeah, your injury. I didn't mean in life. All right, natural monopoly. Oh, man, we got a downward sloping ATC. Jay Cates told me this morning, if ATC's downward sloping, MC has to be below it. Profit maximizer, MC equals MO. Up to demand. I'll give you a chance to write this. Remember, natural monopoly, ATC going down. It's like the electric company, where one company is better served to take the market because fixed costs are so high. Where ATC crosses demand, you have fair return, zero economic profit. Someone asked me last class, why would a monopoly work for no profit? Because they're gonna get accounting profit. Right? They're not gonna get economic profit, they're gonna get accounting profit. All right? Now, where MC crosses, you have what is called socially optimal or allocatively efficient. Notice there, we're losing money. So normally at that spot, you'd have government paying a subsidy. We good? Okay. Did you need that stuff?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yep.
All right. Price discrimination. Do they rarely, if ever, ask you to graph this? But I put it here just so you can see it, and then I'll flip back and show you what they ask more often. All right. In price discrimination, demand equals marginal revenue. Why? Because everyone's paying the price they want. If Keon can afford $30,000, he pays 30, Patrick pays 20, Matt pays 50. Same profit maximizer. MC equals MR, down to the ATC and across. This green box, all profits. Price discrimination is the button. Do they make consumer surplus? No! Because everyone's paying consumer surplus is what I'm willing to pay minus what I pay, and that's what everyone's paying. Okay, so huge profit. Now, what they usually ask is they show you a regular monopoly and say, if this monopoly was operating like a price discrimination monopoly, what would the quantity be? Well, there's no MR, T equals MR, so you find MR, MC, and that's what a price discrimination would be. Is there a price? No, because everyone's paying a different price. Okay. Monopolistic competition in the long run. Ian Williams, can you make money monopolistic competition in the long run? No, the competitions do not make money. Perfect competition, monopolistic competition do not make money in the long run. All right, it's a monopoly graph. To start. Same thing. Difference is more like fast food, hundreds of restaurants. Now, how do I get to the long run here? It's different. Demand shifts down. Why? Because I'm making money. I have Phil's Gourmet Pizza, and Genius comes in with Genius's Goofy Burgers. Well, some of my people are going to eat some of his Goofy Burgers. So the demand for my product is going to go down. MR is going to go with it. And you end up like this. Zero economic value. The key is the ATC needs to touch the price. For some reason, guys draw when the ATC touches the MC. I think I put this in the notes where MC crosses ATC. If I take that down, that is called excess capacity. The difference between what I could produce if I was efficient and what I'm actually producing. What's next up? Side by side?
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Side by side, perfect competition, making money. Matter if it's making money, short or long run. Short, right? If you're making or losing money, you have to be in the short run. And monopolistic competition and perfect competition. JK, affirmative answer or exit? Enter. How am I going to show that on the draft? There we go. JK, you are good. And I'm at zero economic profit. Okay. Or normal profit. Yeah. JK slash knowledge. You don't know. No, I don't know if there's a bathroom open.
Getting closed. Yeah, why are they closed?
Because idiots knock through the bathroom door. No, but
I thought that was just the one in the cab, so why is that a woman?
because people are acting like idiots in the bathroom. Brother, I'm taking this, I shouldn't be doing it. The glass class. Did any of your teachers play that thing at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
What was
It was
Mr.
just Mr. Ford getting an award.
You want teacher.
it? I know, I'd have loved to watch it. He should say, I'll talk to Ford about it. All right, side by side in the labor market. Okay. We got wait. First of all, guys, make sure your industry graph is right. Because for both of them, you get a point just for the industry. Wage, I take this along, supply of labor equals MRC equals wage. Downward sloping MRP. If you want to put for MRP, NP times price, because that's what MRP equals, marginal product times price, maybe to just remind you, that would be great. Anything that changes marginal productivity of price is going to shift the MRP curve. No, I put all the shifts the same. A nice guy, you know, he's- Not really. I don't think anyone's ever called him a nice person. Okay. I'm 99. I'm still working here.
What is LRC?
Marginal resource cost. So that's the cost of an additional worker. Here, it's always going to be the same because everyone's getting paid the same. Right? And a monopsony, not true. All right, I graphed the monopsony for you, right? All right, I just want to show you some highlights. I don't think they'll ask you to graph a monopsony. I think they'll ask you to, but if they do, I remember it as Mark S. My son's name, Mark S. Don't make ridiculous puns. Right? Profit maximizer, MRC equals MRP in the labor market. All right, but it's a monopsony, meaning it's like a monopoly of labor. So I'm going to take that down to the supply curve. So I'm going to pay $9 and I'm going to hire at future. All right. Now, say Mahi comes in and says, I really care about these poor people. All right, Mahi, I'm stretching our imagination a little bit.
Yeah.
And he puts in a minimum wage of $10. Minimum wage, I'm taking this across. So I either hit demand or supply curve. Here I'm hitting them both together. So I'm hiring Q3. It is the only market where minimum wage increases the amount of workers you hire. You find the bathroom? Now, Keon comes back and says, minimum wage is $10. I'm a union leader. He could get an increase of wage up to 12 without any of his original workers getting fired. Okay? Those are the three spots.
Originally, when we said the price maximum, we got MRC and the MRP also.
Yeah, that's the profit maximizer.
And then why do you bring that down? Because they only supply that much?
No, because there's only one place you could work in this town, so they don't have to pay prime money. Just like a monopoly charges higher, a monopoly pays less. And by the way, if they asked you, if this monopoly started to operate like perfect competition, well, this would be demand and supply, and you can notice you pay higher wages and hire more workers. Okay. All right, did I put this in your notes too?
Yeah.
Like this? All right, so let me just say, if they want you to start on the right side, like just like here, they could call this an inflationary data. They could say you're producing above potential output, or they could say unemployment is less than the natural rate of unemployment. And this is full employment or the natural rate. If they want you on this side of the curve to start, they'll call it a recessionary gap. They'll say you're producing less than full potential. And unemployment is greater than the natural rate. Okay. Remember, real GDP, employment, and income all go in the same direction. Right, so those are your starters. If they want you where I started, they're gonna say equilibrium.
The natural rate of unemployment is, that's LRA.
LRS. Okay. All right. All right. Could you stick, you have room on the, did I give you a place for total chart?
No.
All right, put the room, put it on the bottom somewhere. All right, the total chart's the one on the right. It's inflation and unemployment. Okay. The shifters are you slide opposite aggregate demand and you shift opposite SRAS. You slide opposite aggregate demand, you shift opposite SRAS. And the equilibrium there, this would be expected inflation. If they gave you a problem expected inflation, that's where you correct it. Yes,
The LRPC natural rate of unemployment.
it's like the LRAS.
Okay,
Here,
When you slide in the same direction as, AD, because,
if AD slides right, what happens to price level?
so if AD slides to the right and the price level is going down.
No, price level goes up if AD slides right. Right?
Wait, yeah. Oh,
Right?
yeah, I get it. AD
Okay.
shifts and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for asking. Straighten it up. Okay, we're good. All right, next up, money supply. There you go. MS. All right, when do I think money supply? I think when anytime they say the Fed, anytime they say monetary policy, anytime they ask about nominal interest, I'm thinking about this spread. Fed, monetary, central bank, nominal interest. And I got the shifters in there for you, right? All right, it should be nominal interest, but Keon on his test, he can't remember mon nom. Just put interest. You can't, if you're not sure, just go with IR. All right, just remember to label everything. Next up, loanable funds. All right, loanable funds. What am I thinking? Government spending, budget deficit, budget surplus, real interest. That's the graph I'm thinking. Surplus, deficit, government spending, real interest. All right, the last one, if you could put on the bottom, I forgot to put it on the chart. Foreign exchange. Right here. The supply and demand. Whatever country this is. It's the United States, it's the yen over the dollar on the bottom. I'm gonna put the 4 shifters, taste and preference. Income. We're gonna buy imports. The income is up. Price level, we want the lowest price level. And then interest, you're looking for the highest interest rate. Any questions on any of this grant? Will it be helpful to have all the grants? All right, guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you.